your thoughts on Rachel Zegler and the new Snow White remake in general? Seems like the thing is set to be dead on arrival. So, if you don't know what this is referring to, Rachel Zegler is the new Snow White, the upcoming live-action remake from Disney, and all of these past quotes from her over the last year have started to resurface as of recently. And she said a lot of very foolish things. And the tone of what she said comes off like she is like resentful and has disdain for the classic Disney animated film Snow White. And so she called the prince a stalker. And then there's like this real famous part where she goes, "That's weird. That's weird."
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
And does it like such like a condescending way that when you're literally just talking about an absolute classic, iconic film, one of the most important films of all time. It is the first feature-length animated film ever made. It has stood the test of time. It is so wildly important and impactful. And so when you talk about it, it's not that it's sacred and you can't criticize it.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
It's one thing to like point out that our societal expectations over the last 80 years have changed, and that saying that movie is a product of its time. There's one thing to do that, and it's another thing to just look at it with contempt and talk about it with disdain. And that's what a lot of these quotes feel like.
So we didn't do that this time. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Where this person, she's like 20 years old, and that's the kind of the stereotype of the young person that is a young adult. They've started to realize that have a more complex view of the world, but they don't have the wisdom that comes with age. And so you're exposed to these ideas, and you watch this movie that you watched as a kid through a modern day, more sophisticated, grown-up lens, and you realize all the ways that it is out of date. Sure. But you don't have the wisdom to realize I'll be out of date at some point in time too. What I believe right now will be a dated worldview 80 years from now. And not having respect for the past, not acknowledging that how important it is when discussing the complicated nature of our growing understanding of gender roles and story roles and things like that. So when you just have these quotes where she's like, it's weird. It's weird.
Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Like the one one's 80 years old, kind of dated.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937. And she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
And you just talk like this snarky kid. You don't have the right to do that. Well, we all have our right to have an opinion, but you don't have the position to do that. Like, you're just someone that is talented at singing and pretending to be other people. Like, that's what you do. And you're talking about a beloved classic. Like, you don't have the resume. You don't have the history to speak down at a classic without any context. So it comes off really off-putting when you hear it. And there's a way to make the same statements that isn't off-putting, that isn't alienating and doesn't feel contemptful. She hasn't figured it out yet. And most of these Disney remakes, they've had quotes like this that were, making it for a modern time. So you talk about Aladdin and they add a whole new song for Jasmine about kind of her standing up to people. They've always done that, and they've always talked about doing it. I think this is the first time where the actress has just had a specific tone. Everyone that's 20 years old is like, I was such a douchebag when I was 18 to 22 years old. Like, even I get made fun of pretty regularly for my childish tastes in movies. And even last night I had someone DMing me about how I have the tastes of a teenage boy and how I never watched Kubrick and why are you talking about you like crappy movies. I had my pretentious phase too. It ended around when I got married and had a full job, and couldn't just live in the world of movies anymore. I get being young, but you have to have respect for the past. And that's what this doesn't feel like she has. It doesn't feel like someone that respects what came before while making observations about, yeah, of course we're going to modernize. 80 years have passed. Of course we have a different understanding, but I mean, it's a classic and we want to be true and faithful to it, while also making a movie that fits in the year 2024. Oh, that's a reasonable statement. That's not the same thing as like...
with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
There's a way to communicate ideas, and there's a way to have respect how you communicate those ideas. Someone needs to talk to Rachel about how to do that. Most of these clips are pulled from my weekly Patreon live stream. Join at any level, and you can join the chat and ask all the questions you want. That's for as little as $2 per month. For $5 per month, you can get your name on my end card. For $25 per month, you can have a monthly video chat with me. Link is in the description for more details, and keep talking movies and TV too much.